Where is the support group for women in construction businesses? I haven't been able to find it fully yet. I've tried out a couple of ones, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Hello and welcome back. I'm super excited to have you join me today because I have an amazing guest and we're going to be talking about business building. But first, if you're new here, welcome. On the podcast, we talk about three things. We talk about how to invest your money, how to build a business, and how to create generational wealth. So I'm super excited because we're going to really dive into this business building. And if you are a woman in your 40s and 50s, in your prime, make sure you follow us at Primetime Wealth Academy on our YouTube channel, because this is where we have all of these amazing conversations with women who are entering into this second half, best half of our lives. I want to give a quick shout out to my podcast manager, Abby. If you're in need of help in launching and managing your own show, please reach out to her at productions@abbygwaki.com. I'll put her details in the show notes. She really is the best, and I love her. So we're super excited to have the amazing Danae Branson with us here today. Danae, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's so exciting to talk to you. Danae reached out to me because we have connections in the construction industry. So as you know, I just purchased a business in the construction industry. It's a high-end home remodeling business out of Tampa, Florida. Danae reached out because she has a really interesting complementary business. And before we dive into exactly her story, I want you to stick around because at the end, we're going to kind of give you some more information about how you can connect with Danae. And I know she's going to be sharing how you can do a business like this as well. The business is so cool. And when you start your own business, sometimes we get caught in this DIY mode of we feel very alone and we feel like we're just doing things on our own. But the amazing thing is, once you start reaching out and connecting with other people in similar industries or even parallel industries, you're going to find your business is going to blossom. And so, Danae, first, I want you to tell everybody, what is the business that you have today?
Sure. The business is Elite Design Assistants. And I actually work with women in construction, design build, interior designers, and I match them with people in the industry that can help them with anything that they're needing. So a lot of times they're just needing help with construction plans or 3D render, sourcing, all the back end office kind of admin stuff, bookkeeping, web design, social media. The list goes on and on. Pretty much anything you can do virtually, we can do for you. But we just decided we wanted to focus on that industry specifically. So everyone on the team has several years of experience in those industries.
This is super fascinating. And so really, when I was talking to Danae about partnering with her, I was looking at the different pieces of my own business. And if you want to follow the thought process of a business owner, what you do is you look at all of your processes and you try to identify the bottleneck. We call it the bottleneck. So which parts of the process is holding up the rest of those parts? And how do you either eliminate or alleviate this bottleneck? And a bottleneck for my business right now is the estimating/design process, because currently my GC is the one who manages all of that. But talking to Danae, we could offload that and have someone who's highly skilled and knows exactly what they're doing to really walk a client through everything that they need to know for the design of their master bathroom remodel, for example. Danae, tell me what your team does. How can they help a homeowner/construction business owner?
Yeah, basically what they do is they will visit with the business owner, the homeowner, and just get an idea of what that homeowner is wanting, or if they need ideas from that designer. But they have a streamlined process. They'll take them step through step. They'll create the plan, the design, selections, all that kind of good stuff, and just go from the point of that first initial meeting to that last install and the finished product. So they can really do everything a designer does. They just do it virtually.
I know somebody's going to say, but I need to go to the store to actually see the tiles so I can pick one. I don't think I could pick one online. So how does your team handle that kind of objection or challenge?
Yes. So there's a couple of different ways that they handle this. A lot of times they can send ideas, possibly even samples to the client or business owner's home. Sometimes they know of a local showroom that they'll just have them go to see different samples. So basically, between that designer and their client, who could be a business owner or a homeowner, they're going to decide what works best for them, whether they get some actual samples directly sent to their home or if they're going to a local showroom. Occasionally, we find people who are able to be local, perhaps if they have a local partner or something. But a lot of times it works out really well just to have everything done virtually.
I'm a big fan of technology and any kind of new technology or something I can add into my business, I feel like just streamlines the whole business itself. Of course, the personal touch is important. And we have our team that's going to go out and going to do the actual renovations and we'll meet with the homeowner. But I love that this design process can be really kind of pulled out of the challenge that we're having real live right now in our business. This is a really great solution. So I love this business that you've built. So, Danae, first, now I want to back up. I want you to tell us, how did you start this business or how did this business come about for you?
Yeah, it just came about really in an interesting way. When I came out of college with a journalism major, I actually got into the financial industry, but I married a general contractor, painter, plumber, electrician. He could do it all. I helped him on remodels. I loved the design process. But it was a few years down the road before I decided to get back into interior design. I was kind of making my money in the financial industry and had created a virtual assistant there. And then I got to a point where my children got a little bit older. I really had a love for interior design. I wanted to get back into that industry. And some of my colleagues were like, why don't you have a virtual assistant type agency for the design industry? You built one for the financial industry. Why don't you build one for design and construction? And I thought, I could do that. And my initial goal at the time was to do it on the side while I grew my interior design practice. And that business blew up very quickly in a short amount of time. And I loved it so much, I decided just to focus on that business. And so I never did get back into interior design on my own with my own clients. I now just help general contractors and interior designers, design build firms across the country grow their businesses.
It's fascinating. As a business owner, this is a classic example of what all the books talk about when they say you've got to niche down. There's lots of virtual assistants out there. And I know, I think as business owners, sometimes we're like, oh, I need some help, right? I need some help, but we're not exactly sure what we need help with. I think a blanket virtual assistant feels confusing for me as a business owner. Whereas if someone said, oh, this is exactly what I do, right? If someone came to me and said, hey, I'm a virtual assistant and I do your website. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll hire you. And so I love that you just niche down and you picked a very specific industry too, because that makes it so much easier for me as a business owner to say, okay, well, I need help with design. Who do I go to? Danae, she's got a design virtual agency with designers. So tell me about the people that you hire into this. Do they have experience in design or are they just, random?
No, they all have experience in design. In fact, most of them went to college to get an interior design degree and they got out into the real world. They worked for construction agencies, design agencies. Some of them were their own, interior designers, built their own practices. But then somewhere along the line, they really fell in love with designer to designer services, is kind of what I call it. So it's kind of like a business to business market. And they really wanted to work with general contractors and designers and not maybe necessarily have their own firm. And so those are the kind of people that I recruit for my team. Many of them have a wide variety of expertise when it comes to CAD drawings and 3D render, sourcing, admin. Some of them focus just on one general area of the business, which they even kind of niche down into that. So it's really interesting to me, all the people that the creative side of them went to college to become interior designers. And then they get out and are like, I love the business side of it. I just want to sit and do admin all day. I love those people because they are such a great match. And there's so many different platforms out there in this industry. And unless you're really niche down into that, you don't know what Chief Architect is or AutoCAD or Studio Designer or Mydoma or any of those programs. And interior designers, general contractors have their own lingo. They streamline their own processes. They have a million balls in the air at once. They're self-employed. Nobody understands that like the people on my team. And that's how we run our team is everyone's self-employed. There's ebbs and flows. We grow with you. We don't do minimums. We don't lock people into certain lengthy contracts or anything like that because we really want to be able to help everybody grow and scale their business. And once they use our service and fall in love with it, they continue to use us long term, even though they're not legally obligated to.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's interesting because you have such a nimble business model for someone like me who's never used a virtual designer before. I can just say, can I try you out? Can I try it once? And
Yes.
then we try it once. And then there's the whole thing. Like I either fall in love with it or I hate it or land somewhere in between. But it's amazing that you have built this business like that. Was that your intention from the beginning?
Yeah. My intention from the beginning was really to help interior designers, design build, general contractors. And being self employed myself for so many years and having a husband in the industry being self employed, I knew that I wanted to run the business that would most benefit that niche, right? I mean, that's the best way in my mind was to do that. And so what we found was we got a lot of people who came to us to just try it out. And then they fell in love with it and have stayed with us long term. Where there might be other companies out there that require 6-month, 1-year contracts, they might require hundreds or thousands of dollars in minimums. Well, I was able to get my peers to use our service, fall in love with it. And now they're spending way more than a minimum somewhere else, but they, love our service. I do match people for long-term business relationships from the very start, even though it's an as needed service.
That's fascinating. How big is your team now?
So we have over 100 designers on the team. I would say it's getting close to 125, 130 now.
Wow. This business, you're like basically a matchmaker, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have two types of clients in your business. First, you have your actual designers, and so you have to go out and recruit them and get them on board, right? And then you have to
Right.
go out and recruit GCs. And so which do you find to be the most difficult, I guess? Is it finding GCs or is it finding designers?
I would say probably GCs just because designers tend to be in a lot of the same Facebook groups, follow the same
Ah,
podcasts. So
mhm.
then my name gets floated around. So there's a lot of word of mouth referral. But I do work with a lot of designers. I call them design build firms. They're basically the GC and the designer in one. So they call themselves design build. So we do work with a lot of them as well. And those people would be in those, but like just a general contractor that does not have really anything to do with design themselves, those are a little bit harder just because I'm not in as many circles, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Well, and to be fair, there really aren't many circles that have been formed of this type of
Yes.
GC. It's one of the interesting things that is on my mind. It has been on my mind a lot lately since purchasing this business is that I don't see a lot of support for women in this industry. And we're very much the minority in
Hmm.
the construction industry. And so for me, I think a lot of this comes back to my daughter. My daughter's 18 right now. She is 18, but a couple of years ago when we started having those conversations, right when she's in high school, you start having those conversations with your kids about, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you think about after high school? Like what's life going to look like for you? And our family culture has been one where we've always invested in real estate. And so we have gone out and we've renovated houses and we just take the kids with us and they work with us. And it's kind of been like a family thing that we do. We're not like a super fancy big operation. We don't flip hundreds of homes a year. We do maybe one, right? We'll do one a year because it's important for us for the kids to learn this skill, learn to work hard, and then also have a way for them to earn money and a way for them to invest with us in future real estate investments. So all of that aside, when I'm talking to this one particular daughter, she's just fell in love with the construction process. And she loves all the tools. She loves getting dirty. She loves like being there at the houses, and she loves turning something really ugly into something beautiful. As women, I think we do that naturally a lot. We'll take something ugly and we'll make it beautiful. We do it in our own homes, right? We'll try to make things really pretty. And so then as I was talking to her, I was all for it. I was all for her going into the construction industry. I started looking around for a female mentor. There's lots of men out there, and they could be great mentors as well. But I specifically wanted her to be able to see someone that looked like her in this industry. And do you know how hard that was to find? So
Mhm.
hard. So hard. There's an organization called Women in Construction, WIC, and they have a Dallas chapter. We went to that Dallas chapter, but no woman that was there was actually running her own design build or construction business. They weren't owners, they weren't GCs themselves. And my daughter specifically wants to become a
Yep.
GC. And so that was just really challenging. So I was like, you know what? I'm the kind of personality that if I don't see what I want in this world, I'm going to go create it. and so
Mhm.
so now I'm very interested in connecting her. I've since found some female GCs, not here in the Dallas area yet, but I found some in California. I found one in Florida and have connected her with them. So she's learning, she has the chance to learn from them and grow. And so that's been really important. But I think, Danae, what have you seen? I guess since your clients who are GCs or design build, what's the ratio of men to women for on the GC side in terms of your clients?
My clients right now are almost all women on the design build side. I don't get a lot of men that reach out. I mean, maybe a couple a year, but of the thousands of people I've helped, that's not very many. And so we see that with a lot of my clients who are wanting to, they're not already a design build, they're wanting to create a design build. And the number one frustration is working with other men, unfortunately, in the industry. But so I basically went from the financial industry, predominantly male, especially back in the early 2000s when I was growing my business,
Yeah.
to designers, which designers were predominantly female, but this general contractor side of it is predominantly male still for sure, and
Right.
trying to figure out a way to kind of marry those. Cause I know a lot of designers get frustrated working with the male GCs that they have to work with. And you see it in forums all the time. And so it's kind of like I'm trying to figure out a way too to try to help my clients who are doing this process and get them more support and figure out better ways. And hopefully, as our children, I have children probably around the same ages as yours. I have a girl and two boys, and trying to figure out this generation of making this the norm now. Women in the trade, they're very intelligent. Yes, they know what they're doing. Yes, they can handle this, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I worried for a long time as a mama because my 18-year-old daughter, she is 4'10" on a good day, and she
Okay.
is this very petite. And I was like, man, is she going to be able to? Is she just going to be, clobbered in that environment where you walk in and it's just working with all men? And really, it's been a good learning experience for her to learn how to one, be confident in herself and her decisions. And one of my favorite times was when we actually gave her the reins. We had called a GC and electrician and plumber to come over to walk one of the houses we were renovating to give us a quote on specific things we needed them to do. And the night before, we prepped her, we worked together, and we walked through and we created a spreadsheet. And then when they showed up, I didn't tell her I was going to do this, but when they showed up, these three men showed up, I handed her the clipboard and said, "Okay, you go. You tell them what needs to happen." Because she knew every little detail of things that needed to happen. And she kind of looked at me and swallowed and went, "Okay," and then she did it. She like walked him through and she pointed out, we need this plug moved over here. We need this type of plumbing here. And they were so kind and impressed with her. And it turned out to be like this amazing, beautiful
Yeah.
experience, right? And
That's
so it
awesome.
was really cool. It was really
It
cool. So yeah, and Danae and I were talking about this. Like, where is the support group for women in construction businesses? Like I said, I haven't been able to find it fully yet. I've tried out a couple of ones, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Stay tuned, my friend. If you are a woman in a construction related industry or you're interested in starting your own design build firm, because I think a lot of women are because they're very talented and they have that eye. Honestly, I don't have the eye for design. I just don't have it. And that's fine. I'm more like logistical business owner type person. I can't see colors and be like, yeah, that goes together.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind, but I do know that when things look pretty, I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty," you know? But I can't, like, figure it out how to make it look pretty, but I admire people who definitely can, and if you're that type of person, a design build business would be amazing for you to start or buy, and you can do it through acquisition as well, like I did, and grow. In terms of the support, so stay tuned. I have ideas and I'm working on something to launch probably in the summer to really lean into this support and building that support groups that I think women in this industry need in order to continue to grow and have confidence to step out and to be very successful in the construction industry. So I'm super excited about that. So yeah, stay tuned. Well, Danae, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. I love business that you've created. I love how it's like, you're serving, you're kind of this matchmaker in between
Mhm.
and really serving two sets of people. I guess one other question before I end is a B2B business. B2B means business to business versus a B2C, which is business to consumer. What do you think are the pros and cons, I guess, of having a B2B business versus a B2C business?
Depending on how the client structure is set up, a lot of times a B2B business, you maybe don't get to have as much creative control over things, or, again, it depends on how the client structure is set up. A lot of times B2B people, they don't get to do maybe all of the things they want to do because they start to kind of focus on a couple of things. It's still an entrepreneur, but it's not as entrepreneur feeling, if that makes sense. Because you really, a lot of times, depending on what you're doing for that client, you might only be focusing on one or two things. You're not like get that feeling of running like a full scale business where when you're doing B2C, you're typically doing all of the things. And then if you need to outsource, you have control of where you're outsourcing, you have control of what you're doing. You might have more creative direction, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The pros to B2B are those people who really do just only want to focus on one or two things. And if they want to spend all day doing CAD drafting, they're going to spend all day doing CAD drafting. They don't have the interruptions of every little thing coming at you like a B2C might have,
Yeah.
because you're kind of in charge of all things, where the people on my team typically can kind of just focus project per project. They're not 100% in control of the whole full picture. There's still a lot that they don't have to deal with.
Mhm.
So it is just interesting that those people that I find are those ones. Like I have one gal on my team. She's like, you know what? I just want you to get me the work and I'll do it. I go to bed at night and I don't have to worry about, like, in her mind, a full scale business that she's running. I match her with the clients. She works directly with the clients, and that's how she likes to do things. Where I have had people on my team over the years that I've hired that have been so good and they love it and they really want to go run their own thing. And then they hire us back to help them do that. So I have had people on my team that I hire to help other people end up starting their own deal and then hiring us back to help them run their own. So it kind of is just personality wise and what you really want in your day, how you want your day to be run and your week and your life, what you see for that business life, work life balance.
Okay, Janae. Again, thank you so much for
Yes.
being here and sharing with us how you are go about starting your business and running your business. I could talk to business owners all day, every day, because I think it's such a fun topic. And I'm always so proud to like meet other women who are just crushing it in their industry. So congratulations to you. Please tell our listener how they can connect with you.
The name again for the company is Elite Design Assistants. So the web address is elitedesignassistants.com. On there, you can find contact us. If you want to contact me directly, though, which I'm more than happy for you to reach out directly, then the email would be Danae, DANAE, at elitedesignassistants.com. Otherwise, if you try to contact someone through my website, you're going to end up with one of my two assistants or something like that. So when I do an interview like this, I love to give people my direct email. If they prefer to contact me directly, I'm totally fine with that. Yes.
Thank you again so much. And to our listener, thank you for being here today. Remember, please share this episode with someone that you know and love, especially if you know another woman in the construction industry, because we want to reach them and support them and help them out in everything that they're doing. And so I would love for them to follow along so that they can get access to this support system that I'm working on. So thanks so much again, and bye for now.